Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another edition to the DC Capstone Report. We're glad to have you back for another podcast on Alabama football. Well, I want to thank Lance Shores, who's in the studio making all of this possible for everyone, doing all the production and makes this each and every week be able to come to you. And I want to thank our sponsors, RollTideBama.com, FreelancePictures.com. If you haven't checked out Lance's site, you're missing out on some great Alabama football content. And boy, he has some great pictures up from the third Saturday in October, the great victory against the Tennessee Volunteers this past Saturday. So take a look at those websites of his and look at those wonderful pictures, especially if you're in the $1 Million Band or the Crimson Nets, the Majorettes, the cheerleaders, football team. He has pictures of everybody on his site. So check those sites out. And as always, I'm brought to you this week by our sponsors, by our sponsor, Karen Cottingham Realtor, right here in Tuscaloosa with the Williams Group at Keller Williams. For all your real estate needs, contact Karen at 887-205-887-4008. That's Karen Cottingham Realtor, 887-4008. The area code is 205. Well, thanks to be here on this podcast and this another DC Capstone Report to talk about the latest victory over the Tennessee Volunteers and what a game it was. And on this podcast, in the first segment, we're going to review that game against Tennessee. On the second segment, we're going to take a look at our players of the game at Tennessee. And in our third and final segment, we're going to preview the upcoming game this coming Saturday against the South Carolina Gamecocks. Well, welcome back to the DC Capstone Report. Here in the first segment, we're going to review the game against Tennessee at Bryant-Denny Stadium under the lights this past Saturday night. What a game it was. Third Saturday in October just lived up to all the hype. You had Alabama and Tennessee, an opportunity for Tennessee to make a statement win against Alabama in Bryant-Denny Stadium, or an opportunity for Alabama to make a good stand on his home field against a very good Tennessee Volunteer team. And this game did not disappoint, folks. It was close early on. Alabama played a good game. I think it was a great win. Alabama got the win 37-20. If you remember last week on the podcast, my prediction was 38-17, so I was pretty much spot on the prediction as far as the score and on what we needed to do in the game as well. And I think the overall was a great win. I do think we had some inconsistent play on both sides of the ball, which I'll get to in a little bit, but I do think that there was one turning point in the game, and I'm sure everybody knows what that is. But and I think that turning point in the game made the difference in this ball game. So let's get right into it. A great night under the lights at Bryant-Denny. The crowd was amazing. It was loud. The coaches, the players all talked about how loud it was. And I think it helped kind of thwart this Tennessee offense. It never really got started about these explosive plays that they had hit so well in previous games. Those downfield explosive plays for touchdowns. In the passing game, they just never materialized in this game. Alabama did a really good job of rushing the quarterback and putting pressure on the quarterback in this game. If you look at his stats, he threw the ball a lot. He had 44 attempts and 28 completions with an interception and a touchdown. He threw for 268 yards, but it was not that over-the-top touchdown pass that we've seen Tennessee be able to make explosive plays in the past. So I think we did a good job of putting pressure on the quarterback. We had more sacks in this game than we've had in any game so far. We had a safety in this game. So the pressure was there. I think our defensive line did a good job. I think Yanzi Pierre, who was last week's player of the game, showed again this week how great he was. Did such a fantastic job. He came along and put so much pressure on the quarterback that he had 3 sacks and 6 tackles in this game. So those 3 sacks really did a number on Tennessee's passing game. Now, I think where we were inconsistent on defense was in the run game, where stopping the run. We sometimes played well enough to stop the run, but then there were times where we were gashed for plays. And we've got to do a better job of being consistently stopping the run on defense. Now, the flip side of that is we let them get into the red zone, and we turned them away more times than not in the red zone. And that brings us to our turning point play of the game. And I think it's very obvious it was right to close out the half. Alabama is up. Tennessee is driving to score. right before the half, and of course you want to be able to be up with momentum, and with time running out, our defense is holding them. And the critical mistake I think that Tennessee made was using all of their timeouts in 3rd and goal there on the goal line. Alabama did a great job of calling timeout, seeing what formation they were in, and causing call a play on the sideline. Now, what happened in that play was Alabama had 11 players that just did their job. 11 players that just did their job. If you've ever been to the Bryant Museum and watched any of Coach Bryant's old film, that my friend Gary Shores, the late Gary Shores, he produced a lot of films, and some of the things you would hear Coach Bryant would say is all we need is 11 players to do their job. Well, that's what happened on this turning point play. Alabama had 11 players on defense that just did their job. And the coaches did their job. They recognized that Tennessee had no timeouts, and although they were in a running formation, called timeout and told the players, hey, they're in a running formation, but they're going to have to pass out of it because there's only a few seconds left on the clock. They can't afford a stop here without getting any points. So you do your job and stay in your lanes and watch for a forced pass to the outside, a power pass to the outside. And the player that they had been targeting all night was Miles Kitzelman, their tight end that used to play for Alabama. So every player did their job. They got pressure on the quarterback, and sure enough, they came out and throw the ball, a quick pass outside. And Xavier Brown, number 2, the cornerback on that play, did his job, watched the quarterback, kept his eyes on the quarterback. As soon as the quarterback threw the ball, broke on the ball, and picked off the pass and took it 99 yards for a touchdown. And you don't realize how important that play was until you see that it really changed the course of this game and where it was going after it. I think Tennessee had some plays in the second half. They gashed us with the run, but they never really amounted a serious comeback after that play. I think it rocked them. So I believe the whole concept of 11 players doing their job was present on that play. And we went into halftime, came back out, and then lacked some consistency on offense. And that's where we get to the offensive side of the ball. We played really good in the passing game at times. We threw the ball well at times. We engineered some great long scoring drives. But there was still an inconsistency on offense of running the ball. Sometimes we left too many plays on the field running the ball. And sometimes we were unable to take advantage of and went 3 and outs. At times we couldn't do that. Was unable to take advantage of a short field, and we fumbled the ball. When all of our players weren't realizing that it was a fumble, you need to run to the ball until you hear the whistle blow, and that was an error. So I think we were inconsistent in our play a little bit in the second half, but we did just enough to maintain a victory, and our defense played just well enough to keep them out of the end zone on the multiple chances that they had in the red zone. So I'm really proud of this win. I know it sounds like I may be criticizing, but it's more or less things that we can clean up, things that we need to be ready for down the road. We need to make sure we accept this win. It's a good win, but there's also accept that we made some mistakes that we need to clean up going forward so that it doesn't raise its head again. And I think that's something we can do. But overall, great victory against Tennessee. The 4th straight team playing in the top-ranked team, and we're able to come away with a great victory. Just really proud of the resiliency of this team and what they showed in order to keep Tennessee out of the end zone, that defense. And we played just well enough on offense to win the game. Well, welcome back to the second segment here on the DC Capstone Report, where we always talk about our players of the game. Well, offensive player of the game, I think the only place you really can go. He's been an offensive player before, but I believe Ty Simpson was the offensive player of this game. He got Alabama in the places they needed to play well, and he got Alabama in the plays he needed to be in to play well. And he took advantage of what the Tennessee team gave them. And he was 19 of 29 for 253 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. I think the one play that I'd like to highlight here so that it kind of gets you where we are, he got us in the right play on the goal line, which was the touchdown to Isaiah Horton. If you look back, this play has been in the arsenal for quite some time on a lot of teams. Alabama's even used this play before on a fourth down, on a 2-point conversion to win the Auburn game with Bryce Young years ago. So this is a play where the quarterback sees an isolation out. You got one player on that player. Make sure that they're audible to the play that's being called. Know where you're going with the ball quickly. And Isaiah Horton uses his route running skills to run the cornerback toward the inside and stops on a dime, and he is already moving back outside toward the pylon. And if you watch the film and sync it up, you'll see that Ty Simpson throws the ball before Isaiah Horton even makes his cut out to the pylon. Isaiah Horton makes his cut, he catches the ball and waltzes into the end zone untouched. Now, the cornerback was not in a poor position. He just wasn't able to keep up with Isaiah's route running and the timing of the pass from Ty Simpson. That, in a nutshell, shows you why Ty Simpson was my player of the game on offense. He was able to get the ball to the right player at the right time in the right circumstance. And he had 0 interceptions, which is another big. He did have the fumble, but in that case, it was our own player that was pushed into him that interfered with his hand coming forward. He lost control over it, and none of his teammates jumped on the ball to secure it. Even in that play, one of the Tennessee players kicked the ball and pushed the ball forward. Didn't realize it was a live ball. So we need to be more aware in a play like that. I don't put that one on Simpson. So 19-29, no mistakes, and did a really good job. 0 sacks in this game. So he did a lot better getting the ball out of the pocket as well. So my offensive player of the game is Ty Simpson. Well, my defensive player of the game could have been one of 2 players, because these players were both the defensive players of the week for the SEC. But last week I named Jan Pierre as my defensive player of the game. So this week I'm going to go with the other player that the SEC named. There's their defensive player of the week, and that's Xavier Brown. Xavier Brown, as I've already described, his wonderful play about that interception for a touchdown, that 99-yard interception, did a great job on that play. But in my mind, I want to talk about not giving up on the play and scoring. We hadn't had a lot of defensive scores under this regime. 2, I think, since Kane Womack has been the defensive coordinator. And it's nothing on Kane Womack. It's just putting it into perspective. Both of them have been from Xavier Brown. I think he returned a fumble for a touchdown once before in a game, and then this time a 99-yard return. But time running off the clock. Could have easily been run down from behind, could have lost his speed toward the end, but instead has enough in him to juke, slow, hesitate the offensive player that's coming to try to tackle him in order to get into the end zone. And that was a big, big thing in this game. Turnaround, I think the backbreaker for this game was that long touchdown interception return. He also was in on 7 tackles for the day, so he did a good job on run support and then getting players on the ground afterwards. So my defensive player of the game is cornerback Xavier Brown. So on offense, my offensive player of the game, Ty Simpson, and on defense, it's Xavier Brown. Well, welcome back to the third and final segment today on the DC Capstone Report. It is great to be here talking about Alabama football, and I want to thank my sponsors, RollTideBama.com, FreelancePictures.com. I want to thank Lance Shores, who's in the studio producing this, making it happen each and every week. And my sponsor, Karen Cottingham, that allows us to be here each and every week. Karen Cottingham, realtor with the Williams Group at Keller Williams, right here in Tuscaloosa for all your real estate needs. Contact Karen at 205-887-4008. Well, third and final segment, we're going to look at the preview of the upcoming game against the South Carolina Gamecocks. Well, let me start, folks, by saying this. This has all the makings that it could be a trap game. You got a team in South Carolina that on paper doesn't look very well, doesn't look like they're playing very well. And we got a team in Alabama who has done everything that's been asked of them since that early season loss to Florida State and have beat consecutively 4 highly ranked football teams. And now we come to the point where Alabama has moved up in the polls to top 5 in the nation and have beat the only other two top teams in the top 10. Only team that has 2 top 10 wins in the other ones that are in the top 5. So this game has the makings of a trap game. What's a trap game? A trap game is a game on your schedule that you become complacent. You look like, you feel like, you think you're going to beat them, and you're not concentrating on the game, taking it one game at a time. And a trap game means you go in there and you get beat before you ever get off the plane, before you ever get off the bus, before you ever set foot on the field, because you're mentally not prepared to play the game. And I think that this is possible that this could happen in South Carolina, because let me tell you, this South Carolina team is not as bad as people think. This is a team, almost the same type team. It is the same quarterback, some of the same defensive players that came into Bryant-Denny last year after losing some games, and was in the game to the very last play of the game. We had to wait for the very last play of the game to see if they were going to be able to beat us. Fortunately, they were not. But then they went on to win 4 of the next 5 games. This team is not a team to be played with, not a team to be taken lightly. So that's why I say this could be a trap game. But do I think it's going to be? No, I don't. I think we need to be on the lookout for it. I think we need to be watchful. We need to be alert to make sure that this week in practice, that the whole message is that do not let this be a trap game. Don't let them sneak up on you. You go in realizing that if we're going to play for anything that's going to be left ahead of us, a SEC championship, a college football playoff, if we're going to do it, we're going to have to win these games on the road. And Kalen DeBoer's teams have had a record of underproducing against non-ranked opponents on the road. And we can't let that happen in this game. So how do you combat that? Well, you met that message in practice all week. Make sure you translate that down to your players to have their heads in the game, and don't allow this team to sneak up and beat them. On the field, the way you combat it is you got to start fast. You got to start fast. Whether we come out on defense or whether we come out on offense, we got to start fast with a consistent, good play. Now that means on the offense, driving the length of the field and scoring, or on defense, holding them to a 3 and out. Don't give them any chance to stay in the game. You want to neutralize the crowd noise by starting fast. The second thing you need to do is you need to have no mistakes. You can't let mistakes or penalties get up and bite you in a road game like this that give them any chance to stay in the game. So you want to start fast. You want to make sure that you neutralize the crowd noise, because it's a great place to play there. South Carolina has a great atmosphere. It's going to be loud, and they're going to do all they can to get us off our game. But we need to start fast, neutralize the crowd noise by starting fast, and make no mistakes. If we do that, that's a way to start this game in a way to cause us to be not in a trap game atmosphere. And when we're on offense, we need to run the ball better. That's number one, and be consistent when we're on our drives. Make consistent plays. And in the passing game, we need to make sure that we take what the defense gives them. They have great rushers. So Ty is going to have to step up in the pocket. The pocket's going to have to be clean for him on the offensive line. And he's got to make great decisions on where to go with the ball. Hit the check downs, whatever he needs to be. And then look for that explosive play. Look for the opportunity to break the game wide open, either on offense or defense. The defense is going to have to be ready to play one of their best games on the road. They're going to have to make sure they take this team of South Carolina out of the game. In other words, don't let them do what they want to do. You dictate the game to them. Do not let Lenore Sellers, who's a great quarterback, do not let him beat you with his legs and extending plays on third down. It's going to take multiple tacklers to running to the football when he has it in order to stop this team, because he does not go down on one tackler. He breaks tackles. He's a big quarterback. So don't let him beat you in this game. Stop his quarterback run. Stop him from extending plays on third down. Put pressure on the quarterback. Put him in obvious passing situations where our team has an opportunity to make an explosive play on defense with a turnover. I think that's the blueprint to win this game. Do I think Alabama can do it? I absolutely do. I think Alabama is going to go on the road. They're going to bury the ghost of the past of not underperforming. They're going to perform well. It's going to be another national television game that Ty Simpson has an amazing game. Running game comes back, and we hit on all cylinders in order to get ourselves a big victory on the road. I see Alabama coming out of this with a victory. I like Alabama with a score, winning this game on the road, 41-17. Alabama 41, South Carolina 17. Well, that's it for the DC Capstone Report this week. I thank you all for tuning in and listening to me. It's amazing to me that you tune in and listen to me each and every week. We certainly appreciate it. Lance and I both appreciate you tuning in. So share it, like it, tell your friends about it. This is DC with the DC Capstone Report, signing off with a big Roll Tide.